All right, so we're diving into Lon Milo DuQuette's The Chicken Qabalah of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford today.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
Jewish mysticism, but like with a sense of humor.
Yeah, it's not your typical,
Not your typical Kabbalah 101 textbook,
no, not at all.
which I kind of like.
I think that's what makes it so great.
Yeah, and it's written as if it's like a student of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford.
Right, like a student is writing it.
But the rabbi may not have actually even existed.
Yeah, who knows?
It's kind of brilliant.
It is, because it makes it so much more like, I don't know, accessible and fun.
Approachable.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, for people who are completely unfamiliar with Kabbalah,
Oh, yeah.
like this is a great entry point because he uses humor and stories and metaphors.
And it's not dry like a lot of the Kabbalah books can be,
Yeah.
like super dense, you know?
So what are like some of the core tenets that DuQuette, through his fictional student, tries to get across?
Well, the book starts out with this very standard kind of mystical idea that all is one. It's kind of unifying force behind everything.
Like that interconnectedness thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of a standard for most mystical traditions.
But then he immediately follows it with all is nothing.
Yes.
Which I love.
The second command rant.
Right.
Right.
Yes. The second command rant.
That all is nothing.
All is nothing.
And that the nothing actually is the source of creation.
Whoa, okay, so this is like, we're getting into some deep stuff already.
Yeah, yeah. And he refers to the nothing as Ein Sof.
Ein so far.
And so far. Yeah, have you ever heard of like the quantum vacuum?
I mean, like, vaguely.
Okay,
Physics is not my...
Yeah, it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
But it's this concept that there's this like a vacuum that has all this potential energy in it.
Okay.
And so
it's not nothing.
it's not really nothing in the way that we think about nothing. It's more like the birthplace of everything.
Okay.
And it's like constantly kind of like there are particles popping in and out of existence all the time.
And so he's connecting this idea of like quantum physics to this concept of like all is nothing, which is really...
Which is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because it really does challenge our concept of reality.
Well, and he also talks about how our perception is like defective.
Right.
Like we don't actually perceive reality clearly.
It's limited. Yeah, he calls it a defect, actually.
Yeah.
Our senses are defective and our minds are defective.
So we're walking around with like these blind spots, basically.
Yeah, basically.
And he's arguing that Kabbalah is like a way to kind of push past those limitations.
To abuse our senses.
To abuse our senses, yeah.
Until they break.
Yeah, and I love that because it's like, okay, we got to like shake things up.
Right.
Break some eggs to make this
Tom
omelet.
likes to shake things up.
He does.
That
And
matters.
he also shakes things up with his take on God.
Oh, yeah.
Because he focuses on the Hebrew word Elohim and points out that it's a plural noun.
It is a plural noun.
Wait a minute, hold on. Are we talking polytheism here?
No, not exactly. He just, he interprets Elohim as like one God, but with like male and female aspect.
What about the dual gendered?
Like a dual gender deity.
Oh, okay. You're right.
And throughout the book, he calls God all these crazy names too.
Joe.
Like Joe Heavy, the Big Kahuna, the Mighty Duh.
It's pretty great.
I mean, he's got a sense of humor about it.
So we've got this God who may or may not be a dude.
Right.
And creation coming out of nothing.
Yeah.
What else is in these excerpts?
Well, he talks about the Sepher Yetzirah quite a bit.
Right.
Which is also known as the Book of Formation.
Right.
And that's an ancient Kabbalistic text.
Uh-huh.
And it's a pretty fascinating explanation of creation.
Of course, DuQuette jokes about like finding the original manuscript from like a street vendor in Mexico City or something.
Oh, yeah. He's got a story for everything.
Right.
But the Sepher Yetzirah basically explains creation through these 32 paths of wisdom.
32 paths.
Yeah, and those paths are made up of the 10 Sephiroth, which are the emanations of divine energy.
Okay.
And the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet.
Those building blocks we were talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he uses those really great diagrams.
Especially figures 3 and 4.
Yeah, if you're a visual learner.
Yeah.
They really help you to kind of see how it all fits together.
Okay, so 32 paths, 10 Sephiroth, 22 letters. Anything else about the Sepher Yetzirah we should highlight?
Yeah, the 3 mother letters,
Yeah.
Aleph, Mem, Shin. You see them a lot in Kabbalah.
Yeah.
And those are associated with like the fundamental elements like air, water, fire.
Oh, wow.
and also the 3 dimensions.
So like these very simple elements and letters are forming the foundation for this complex system of thought. It's like the universe is built from a divine alphabet or something.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing
Yeah.
how it all kind of comes back to these very basic building blocks.
So we've got these building blocks, the Sephiroth, the letters, the elements, but how does it all fit together?
Well, that's where the 4 worlds come in,
Okay, here we go.
which she connects to the 4 parts of the human soul.
Buckle up, listener. Things are about to get interesting.
All right, so those 4 worlds are basically like levels of consciousness.
Okay.
And they're also connected to 4 parts of the soul.
Right. So it's not just like an abstract system out there. It's like literally inside of us.
Yeah, it's about understanding like the different layers of our own being.
Okay, break it down for me. What are those 4 worlds and how do they relate to like our souls?
Okay, so the first one is like the most dense level. It's called a saya, and that's the world of action. So it's like the physical material world that we experience with our senses. It's associated with the nefesh.
Okay.
Which is like our animal soul.
So like my desire to eat pizza right now.
Exactly.
That's my nefesh talking.
Yeah, the part of us that's just driven by instinct and desires and survival.
Okay, got it.
And then moving up a level, we have Yetzirah, the world of formation. And that's like the bridge between the physical and the spiritual realms.
Okay, so less pizza and more what?
More about like intellect and self-awareness.
Okay.
It's associated with the Ruach.
Ruach.
Yeah. And it's the realm of angels in the astral plane.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's where those divine ideas start to take shape.
So if a saya is about action, Yetzirah is about like thinking and planning.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then we have Braya, the world of creation.
Braya, okay.
And this is the realm of pure thought, archetypes, divine ideas. It's like the blueprint for the universe.
Whoa, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
What part of my soul is hanging out in Braya?
That would be the neshama,
Neshama.
which DuQuette refers to as our soul intuition. It's
Okay.
like that spark of divine inspiration, those flashes of insight that come out of nowhere.
Okay, I'm starting to see how these worlds and soul parts kind of map onto each other. So what about like the highest world, the top floor of this mystical office building?
That's Atziluth.
Atziluth.
And it's the world of pure emanation.
Yeah.
It's the source of all creation, pure consciousness. And it's associated with Chia, which is our pure life force, like the spark of the divine within each of us.
Okay, so to recap, we've got Asaya.
Action, the physical stuff,
Yes.
thoughts and angels,
Braya.
divine ideas,
And Atziluth.
pure consciousness.
Okay, I think I'm following, but like what's the point? How does understanding these 4 worlds, these 4 parts of our soul, how does it help us like in our everyday lives?
Well, DuQuette suggests that these worlds aren't separate places.
Okay.
They're levels of consciousness that we're experiencing all the time.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, even if we're not aware of it.
So I'm existing on all 4 levels right now.
You are.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the more we can like become aware of those levels, the more we can access the wisdom and power that they hold.
Okay, so like if I'm feeling stuck in like the material world, like overwhelmed by my, what was it, nefesh desires,
Right.
I can connect with my ruach
Your intellect.
to get some clarity.
Exactly.
So it's like I've got this inner toolkit that I can draw from. Exactly.
Depending on what's going on.
And the more we explore those inner worlds, the more we realize like how much potential we have.
Okay, so it's not just about these like abstract concepts.
Yeah.
It's about like becoming more self-aware.
It's about self-knowledge and growth, yeah.
Right, and that brings us to another fun topic that DuQuette brings up.
Yes,
Spirits.
Yes.
He doesn't shy away from that at all. In fact, he seems pretty matter-of-fact about the whole thing. Angels, demons. It's like, of course spirits exist.
Right.
So what's the big deal?
Well, Qabalah teaches that these entities aren't necessarily like external beings.
Okay.
They're often seen as like forces or aspects of our own consciousness.
So not little devils on my shoulder telling me to eat more pizza.
Not exactly, no.
Okay.
Think of them more like different departments in our psyche.
Okay.
Each one has like a specialized function.
That makes sense. And he talks about spiritification as a way to interact with those forces. But he doesn't mean like holding seances or anything like that.
No, no. It's more about what?
It's about like tapping into those inner forces.
Okay.
And understanding their nature. And learning to work with them constructively.
Okay.
It's almost like having an internal board meeting with different parts of yourself.
I love that visual.
Yeah.
So we've got these 4 worlds, these 4 parts of our soul,
Right.
these inner forces, and we can learn to work with all this through Qabalah,
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how it all fits together.
And remember that central symbol of Kabbalah, the tree of life?
Oh, yeah, of course.
He doesn't just present it as like a static diagram.
Okay.
He talks about it as a dynamic system,
Oh, I love that.
a representation of like the flow of consciousness through those four worlds.
So it's not just a map.
It's more like a living, breathing entity
Right.
that reflects the constant evolution of the universe.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And he uses this really interesting framework.
Okay.
Like he presents these student essays from this fictional Zerubbabel Institute of Philosophical Youth.
The Zerubbabel Institute.
Yeah, and they're exploring the evolution of the tree of life.
Okay, so it's like we're peeking into the minds of these ancient students as they're grappling with these ideas.
Yeah.
That's definitely more engaging than a textbook.
Yeah, a lot more fun and engaging.
And speaking of engaging, there's that section that I really wanted to talk about, the Kabbalistic games.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, we've explored some heavy concepts, now let's have some fun.
Let's play. Yeah.
Right. So remind me, what are the 3 games that he highlights?
Gematria, Notarikon, and Tamira.
Okay, so last time we left off, we were talking about these Kabbalistic games. Gematria, Notarikon, Tamura. Are you ready to have some fun?
Let's play.
So what is Gematria exactly?
Well, it's basically assigning numerical values to letters.
Okay.
In
Well,
the Hebrew alphabet, each letter has a corresponding number.
like Roman numerals, but with a...
Yeah, but with a mystical twist.
Okay, so letters equal numbers.
Right. And then what you do is you add up the numerical values of the letters in a word or a phrase to get a total. And the idea is that words or phrases with the same numerical value might share a deeper connection,
Even if they seem totally...
even if they seem completely different on the surface.
So it's like a numerical bridge that connects...
Yeah, like a secret code
Yeah.
that connects these seemingly unrelated ideas.
Do you have a good example?
Yeah. Well, DuQuette gives the example in the book of analyzing his own name
Oh, okay.
using gematria.
Using Gematria. Okay.
And he uncovers some really interesting connections to other Kabbalistic concepts just based on the numerical value of his name.
So it's not just random.
No, it's not just like numerology. It's about using those numerical connections to deepen our understanding of the concepts
Right.
and to see patterns and relationships that we might not have noticed otherwise.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Notarikon?
Notarikon.
Okay.
That one's all about using the letters of a word to create new words or phrases.
Okay.
The 2 main approaches, condensation and expansion.
So we're shrinking things down, or we're blowing them up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what's a good example of condensation?
So condensation is like taking a word or phrase and reducing it down to its initials or key letters to form a new word. So DuQuette uses the example of I did it on time,
Right.
which he condenses down to idiot.
Oh, I love that.
It's pretty funny.
It's so good.
And it makes you think,
It really does.
about how we can get so caught up in the details of life that we miss the bigger picture.
Sometimes you just got to simplify.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes taking a step back and simplifying can reveal a deeper truth.
Okay, so condensation is about getting to the essence of things.
Mm-hmm.
What about expansion?
Expansion is taking a word and using each letter as the starting point for a new word to form a phrase or a sentence. So DuQuette uses the example of hand, and he expands that to create the phrase, have a nice day,
Oh, that's great.
which is pretty funny. But then he takes it a step further
Of course he does.
and expands have a nice day into heroin and vodka, ease, agony, nothing is certain except death and yesterday.
Which is so dark.
It's so dark, but so DuQuette.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's like, hey, there's more to this than meets the eye.
exactly. There's always more to it.
Okay, Notarikon sounds fun.
Yeah,
And maybe a little dangerous.
depending on where it leads you.
Yeah. What about Tamura? What's that one about?
So Tamura is all about substitution. So you're swapping out letters in a word or a phrase with other letters based on a specific code or system.
So it's like having a secret decoder ring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
DuQuette talks about the AIQ BKR method.
Hey, IQ BKR.
Yeah, which is sometimes called the Qabalah of the 9 chambers.
And it's like this chart
It's a chart
that arranges letters into these groups.
based on their numerical value.
Okay, and then you can like swap out letters within those groups to create new words.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, and then explore what those words might mean in relation to the original word.
Right. It's about like playing with the building blocks of language and seeing what happens when you rearrange them.
DuQuette gives some examples, but he also makes it clear that like the real value of Tamura isn't just about the end result.
Right.
It's about the process of like engaging with language.
It's about the playfulness and the creativity.
So, to recap, Gematria, numbers revealing hidden connections, notaricon, condensing and expanding words. And Tamura, swapping out letters to find those hidden relationships. Those are some fun word games.
They're really fun.
Definitely more fun than the word games I played in school.
Yeah, me too.
What I love about this is it's like DuQuette saying, hey, don't just read the words, play with them.
Explore them.
See what secrets they hold.
Yeah, it's about engaging with language in a different way.
And it's like a reminder that spirituality doesn't have to be serious all the time.
No, it can be fun and playful.
Yeah, mischievous even.
Definitely.
Well, I think we've all gained a new appreciation for the Chicken Qabalah of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford.
Yeah, it's a really fun book.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, DuQuette's a genius.
He really is. He makes you think differently about everything.
Yeah, he challenges your assumptions and encourages you to see the world through a more magical lens.
I love that. Well, until next time, keep diving deep and never stop exploring.
And keep playing with those words.